Hi, I'm Maria Kleofkoff from Healthy Mourning Revolution and the Healthy Mourning YouTube channel, and I'm here to talk to you today about self-care and how to take care of yourself in grief, because we don't think about taking care of ourselves in grief. In the early days of grief, and by the way, early days would be the first 3 to 6 months of your grief, because time starts to look very different when we're on our grief journey, and we need to take care of ourselves. So in those early days and weeks and months of our grief, what we need to do is we need to listen to our bodies. Every grief symptom is coming, telling us to slow down, begging with us, pleading with us to slow down. The confusion in our mind, the way we have to really sit and think about things that we used to do just naturally without even thinking about it, it's asking us to slow down. And our normal reaction, at least if you're anything like me, is to just kind of curse at it and plow through it. Well, the problem is plowing through it isn't going to help us in the long run. Plowing through it will lead us to buried and carried grief. It's going to lead us to not dealing with what's coming up, and then slowly but surely our life spark is going to diminish over time. So instead, what we want to do is we want to attend to what is happening right here, right now. And so if what our body is telling us is slow down, you're exhausted, you need to take a nap, self-care is about taking the nap, making the space and giving yourself permission to not be superwoman or superman at this time. Your body is processing a ton of stuff right now, and part of your body is looking for where your loved one is right now. We have this myth in our society that in grief it's all about closure. And in grief, what we're wanting to do is we're wanting to sever the relationship with the person who died. And every part of our body is screaming that that's not true. And the more we're trying to do something that's not true for our body, the more we fight our body, the more exhausted we become. And so we really need to tend to that exhaustion. We need to allow ourselves to sleep and allow in the sleep time for the processing to occur. If we find that we're having sleepless nights and we're not able to sleep, that doesn't mean we need to get up and do. We simply need to awaken and listen to the prompting of our body. So it's all about learning to listen to the prompting of our body and trusting those instincts, trusting what it's telling us to do. So when somebody is giving us advice, and people give us advice when we're grieving all the time, the problem with that is whatever they experience during their grief may or may not work for us, but in reality, only we know what will work for us. And we don't necessarily believe that to be true. So what we need to do is we need to consciously feel into our body, feel into our mind, and listen for that still, quiet voice that's prompting us. So that if somebody is asking us to do something, for instance, friends often are asking us to go somewhere or do something. They're trying to keep us busy and active, but we instinctively know that we just need to stay at home, that we need peace and quiet. Then we can't be afraid to say no to our friends. We have to follow what is our own inner guidance, and we have to be willing to listen for that inner guidance, right? So don't be afraid to say no to your friends. The other side is don't be afraid to say yes. If you hear something that feels really true for you, that you want to pursue, if you're curious about how this information might support you, or if you're curious about how going with your friend on whatever excursion they recommend, if your whole body is saying, yes, that's what I need to do, then don't be afraid to follow the yes. You know, if you see a book and you're looking at it and going, I'm not sure, but your insides are going, yes, this is the one, then we need to be willing to follow the yes. So it's don't be afraid to say no when no is the right answer, and don't be afraid to say yes when yes is the right answer. So don't be afraid to say no if you can't possibly help somebody out with something, you just don't have the energy to do what they're asking of you. Don't be afraid to say yes to the nap. Don't be afraid to say yes to sitting on the sofa if that's what you need to do, and just kind of stare into space. In the early days, weeks, and months of grief, that's not uncommon. And sometimes that's what we need to do. If you weren't a couch potato before, you're not going to become a couch potato now. But for this moment in time, that may be what you need to do, right? Listening to the still quiet voice inside and learning to hear what that voice has to say, what that does is it teaches us to not only listen to it when it is right for us to stay still and quiet, but we'll also start to feel when I'm being still and quiet right now and that's not feeling like that's what I'm supposed to do. What we want to train ourselves to do in self-care is to listen to our inner wisdom and to be willing to follow it wherever it leads, because that inner wisdom is the kindest voice. Being kind to yourself during this time of grief as you're processing the staggering information, right? And as 10% of your brain is working on the problem of where are they now, where are they now, where are they now? Grief is not a problem to be solved, but our mind likes a problem and goes searching for the answer. And the way it goes searching for the answer is it's looking for, where is our loved one now? Our brain is not wrong with this, right? There's ancient wisdom that says death ends a life, it does not end a relationship. Mitch Albom in his book Tuesdays with Maury said death ends a life, not a relationship, and he got that wisdom from Maury Schwartz, his teacher and his mentor. What that means is there is no closure to the relationship. There is a closure to the physical relationship, but there's no closure to the relationship. And the more we find where that relationship is now, the easier it will be for us to let go of the physical. And so our job right now is stay present to ourselves, to listen to the next clues for where we might find that relationship, and to take care and nurture ourselves, remembering oxygen mask on yourself first. So if you have children who are dependent on you, if you have parents who are dependent on you, if the death of one parent is causing you to need to be there for the other parent in a different way, you need to remember you also need to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, because as every good steward and stewardess knows, you can't help a child if you're passed out in their lap. You need to put the oxygen mask on yourself so that you are then able to support and help those you love. If this is helpful to you, please put a like in it, put a comment on it. If you'd like me to talk about other topics in the future, please let me know what those topics are. For other resources, including the registration for our next Healthy Mourning Revolution live launch, I invite you to go to healthymourning.com. That's HEALTHY, Healthy Mourning, MOURNING.com. That's where you'll find me, and you'll find all of these resources that are available to you. Subscribe to the YouTube so that you're notified. If you click on the bell, you'll be notified whenever I have a new video release. And if you want me to talk about something in particular in these videos, please, please, please put that in the comment section and let me know. Most of all, please share this with your friends. You never know when somebody's grieving. You never know when somebody is hanging on to a hurt. So instead of trying to figure out who to share this with, just share it with all of your friends. It'll get into the hands of the right people, and the people who need to see this will see it. Thank you for helping to spread the word about healthy mourning. Let's revolutionize the way people think about grief and mourning so that we become healthy, vibrant communities that can once again embrace our joy in living and honor the people who are no longer physically in our presence but are very much in our lives. Much love to you all. Namaste.